Sounding the alarm, sounding the alarm. We have another pest that needs to nest and rest. She says, I, 40-year-old woman, own my own home, and 36-year-old boyfriend moved in with me. He thinks he doesn't have to pay rent since I paid for everything before he moved in anyway. Am I being unfair by insisting he gets a job and pay rent despite him feeling mentally ready for a job? Red flags. Warning. No more pests that need to nest and rest. No more, no more, no more. Let's look at this post though. He says, I paid for everything on my own before he moved in anyway, and it's not like heating the house costs any extra or anything. He contributes somewhat to groceries, but he eats way more than me. I said he adds to electric, water, wear and tear, and he feels it's so minimal it shouldn't even matter. He doesn't have a job either. He's stressed and trying to get to a better place before job hunting. I agreed to supporting him for a few months. Yes, it was a legit reason to not work, but those few months have been well over a year, and my patience and niceness has worn off. He feels his helping around the house should be enough. He feels it is okay to lay in bed until 11 when I start work at 7:30 a.m. He also gets upset and says I'm controlling when I suggested him getting up at 8 a.m. to do a set amount of hours of house cleaning and house projects. He's super handy. When I bring it up, he either gets defensive and a fight maybe ensues, or he says things to play the victim. I wish I had the ability to have a good job like you. I tell him you do, you need to work for it. Or I feel so unappreciated for all the hard work I do around here. You don't understand how much I do and it's hurtful. He does what a normal person that pays rent and works should. I told him during an argument that he does barely over the minimum standard of what is expected for a grown adult that works 40 hours a week. We have discussed household work expectations, and when I try to enforce it, he finds a way to blame it on something other than laziness. He cannot hold himself accountable. I feel that this is complete manipulation, gaslighting BS. He has never lived independently, always with a girlfriend or roommate. I bring this up to other people, and everyone tells me he's probably just feels ashamed, or I bet he's just depressed, and that is why he is making excuses. I say that he could get a job, not lay in bed so long, not watch movies when I tell him I need help cleaning and grow up. I say I feel he's gaslighting and being a manipulator, and I get told I'm being dramatic. So Reddit, is there something I'm missing? Could he possibly actually feel that me having him pay rent via money or labor is bad? Or is all that just gaslighting and me being dramatic? P.S. We discussed this in couples therapy 6 months ago. It went nowhere other than him wanting to quit therapy. I'm adding the fact that when we first started dating, he did have a job. It was a seasonal job, and it was assumed he would go back. Then things happened, and he didn't go back, and he was taking some time off. He did very minimal side jobs for cash here and there, one or two a month to pay for food and gas. He just needs to do more in the house. Pew Research supports that even when dudes are not working outside the home, they're not doing the same amount inside the home. But the support that goes on inside the home can be so important. You know, the cooking, the cleaning, the doing the admin, all of that is so important to making a relationship work, to making a household work. And so sometimes it is a bit of, maybe it does hurt someone's feelings or hurt someone's pride to have to say that they are the support, but it is very important for a household to run. And if he doesn't want to get a job outside the home, he's going to have to do what he needs to do within the home. Otherwise, this woman is getting fed up. And this is a boyfriend. This is a boyfriend, and this is her home. At this particular juncture, she has talked about it. She set expectations. She's done couples therapy with a boyfriend. At this particular juncture, she has done all that she can. There's nothing left to do except give him an eviction notice. And you do probably have to give an eviction notice after someone has stayed with you for so long. But I don't even know why she is holding on to this, with all of her dear might, because there were so many red flags in this whole conversation. The manipulation and gaslighting to get out of anything semblance of a productive person within the home that should be doing this type of stuff. Because yes, you are eating up extra food. You are taking up extra electricity while she's at work. So just do extra. Just do the bare minimum. And when you're consistently cooking and cleaning as you go, it doesn't take nearly as long. So you can jump up, do everything, and then do whatever you feel like doing around the house. Because she didn't mention kids, so it's just them two. So it really shouldn't even be that big of a deal. Let's look at the comments. So Lucy Love Apple says, why did you let him move in when he has no job? Listen to this answer. He never really officially did. He just kept staying over more and bringing more and more stuff over. After about a year, I moved things around in my linen closet so he could store stuff. Next thing you know, he never left. He continued to pay his former roommate for a few months and then stopped. We were just like, okay, well, I guess you're living here now. That's where I was tagged in. Antique Obligation says, that's textbook the way homosexuals operate. I am very sorry. And she tagged me in saying, check out BurbNBougie YouTube channel. She talks a lot about how the people like your boyfriend and how they mooch off of women's lives. He found a good host. He attached and he's like, I'm comfy here. This is a nice comfy couch. Ooh, I like it. She got Wi-Fi. She got soup. Always got snacks. I'm good here. At the bottom, that's me, and that's my new profile picture. I said, this is a terrible case of a pest that needs to nest and rest. He got comfy on her couch and won't leave. She'll have to exterminate with drastic measures. I'm so glad that so many people are using the word homosexual. Western Zucchini says, you are dating a homosexual. Kick him out. Skynet Empire says, the first thing I said was, why would you let him move in if he didn't have his life together in the first place? At the very least, he should have a job. Beansprout says, thank you. Came here to ask the same thing. Erlyn at the bottom says, he must be smoking hot and or very good in bed. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. NYC Quilt says, don't forget, low self-esteem can also lead people to bad choices. This one was funny to me from Curious Reference. That's why we call men like that a cock lodger. Cock lodger. So go ahead, write that down. Cock lodger in the UK. That is what they're called. We say homosexual. I've been saying pest that needs to nest and rest, but now we have cock lodger to add to the lexicon. Key Fifi says, never heard this in the US, but I like it. I like it too. Cock lodger. Make sure to use that in a sentence. If you are in the comment section right now, please write a sentence with the word cock lodger. We now have a new word. We have heard dickmatized before, but BDJCT says she's dickmatized, happens to the best of us. Different Pepper says, yes, it does happen to the best of us. I've learned the hard way that it's okay, but don't be so dickmatized that you let them move in or it's detrimental to yourself. The Real Satan's Weasel, that's a funny name, says, this is usually the answer. People put up with a lot of for a good-looking piece of behind. And then at the bottom, Darkest Star says, the homosexuals I know prey on women with low self-esteem. So just keep all of this in mind. And we're going to continue to talk about this because it's turning into fall. The weather's starting to shift. The days are getting shorter and shorter. And they're going to be panicking to attempt to find another host. So I'm going to continue to hammer this. Join the conversation, write out your sentence with cock lodger, and let's continue this conversation. Like, comment, and share. This was posted in the Two Hot Takes subreddit. She says, should I let my boyfriend move in? Should I let my boyfriend move in? Okay, there is going to be a theme for today's Reddit post. They're both 28. She says, I bought my first flat last year. My boyfriend wants to move in. We've been together for nearly 7 years, but I'm very apprehensive about letting him move in. She already knows that there's issues if she's apprehensive still after 7 years. Let's spot the red flags as I'm reading. We already hear that they've been together for 7 years and she's still not ready for him to move in. So there's a red flag there for me. All right, let's see the rest of them. He stays over maybe half the week at the moment, and I do enjoy him being here, but I also feel like my labor increases quite a lot while he's here. I've tried to have conversations with him about doing his part, but he feels like he is already and that my standards are too high, and he also doesn't have great emotional intelligence. All right, she continues. An example of both of these things is he was staying at mine after we had come back from holiday, and he had run out of clean clothes. I let him put some clothes in the washing machine so he had clothes for the next day. When these were washed, I put some things on heated air and other things hanging up to dry overnight. The same night, he complained that his boxers weren't dry. I told him they would be dry by the morning, as this is when he said he needed them by. He was then upset and said that I should have prioritized putting all of his clothes on the heated air over mine in her house. I'm still waving some red flags. I felt like he should have been appreciative of the fact that I had washed and hung up his clothes, and if he had let me know he needed boxers for the same night, I would have at least put one pair on the heated air. I'm not sure if I'm overreacting, but he will be moving into my house from his parents' house, where his mom does everything for him. Oh, okay. He has also worked from home full time, so he will be in my flat more often than I am, as I work in the office at least 3 days per week. I really do love him, but I'm not sure if this is what I want. I feel like I will be taking on someone to look after. Any advice appreciated, and please ask any questions. Red flags all throughout this thing, and we've been together for a while. I am sure y'all know how I feel about this one, so I just go ahead and type it up. One thing I do need to say before jumping into the comment section is that the mom to wife pipeline, or even the mom to girlfriend pipeline, needs to completely dry up. These dudes need to live independently. They need to learn how to do things on their own and be a proper adult. They need to learn how to multitask living and keeping their home clean and keeping their hygiene up and all of that, because so many of them are failing and flailing without having a woman to pick up the slack where mommy left off. Let me know what you think about that, but that's how I feel about that. Let's see what the comments say. Brief Ratio says, 7 years and you still don't know what you want. I feel like you should move on. He isn't the one. Ginger Fool says, I was wondering why she's even bothering with him the moment I read they've been together for 7 years. Why waste any more time? The D can't be that good. Perfect Storm says, Lord, I'm laughing so hard. The D can't be that good. And then Alarm Speaker says, but what if he has magic D? Championship Sad says he needs to live elsewhere for a year to figure it out. Mufraya says moving from his mom's house to girlfriend's house just means trading one caretaker for another. And this is what women need to move away from. Stop doing this. Stop subsidizing them and being their caretakers. ABK says, girl, don't do this. You will be his mom, cook, nurse, laundry lady, etc. I'm glad that so many people are repeating this. Just a Normal Gal says, obviously he's a mama's boy. OP would have an adult child at home. Summer Ice Cream says, would add ATM to the list, and I would tell OP this. Do not let this guy move in with you. 1, he's planning on you picking up where his mommy leaves off, and he will expect you to not only wash his clothes like his mommy does, but also wash his clothes before your own. 2, the fact that he will be in your home more means that he will take it over, making it dirty with an unmade bed, dirty dishes in the sink, and more dirty clothes. And of course, he will have his friends over as often as possible. 3, at 28 and still living at home, he has not learned to fully adult, and he's either with his money. Does he drive a nice car, travel a lot, have nice things? If so, he's been mooching housing, utilities, and food off his parents this whole time so he can buy materials to look like a rich guy. Or has he been saving a ton of money off his parents' back so that he can purchase a home of his own at some point, so he would not pay his fair share on your place, thus becoming a financial drain on you? In either case, the guy would be the same selfish prick to you. By the way, if you do own your place and you do allow this loser to move in, have him sign a lease agreement. Advice my lawyer gave when having a family member move into my property. Thus, they are a legal tenant and have no legal claim on the property. Drop him and find someone who has actually matured in their 28 years of life. And most important, have common values and practices as you. And with that, I'm going to leave that there because that is some real stuff. And the reason why I'm doing this thread of similar things is because this is going on across the board. The fact that she says flat and says mum tells me that she's not here in the United States. This is a cultural phenomenon. And just like they use the word cocklodger in the UK, this is a phenomenon that's all over the place. But we have to keep on talking about it so that women can avoid these types. This woman says, am I overreacting for sticking with no contact from my husband, even though he regrets filing for divorce? So he says, peace, I'm out of here. And she's like, I bet. And now he's sitting up here sending text after text after text. So let's look at the caption before I show you the text messages. She says, 4 weeks ago, my husband, together for 6 years, married for 3, and I got into a terrible argument that became violent. That was the breaking point for me. After years of toxic patterns, infidelity, lies, manipulation, and physical aggression, I moved out 2 days later and he filed for divorce the same day. 2 weeks later, I was served. Since then, I've been no contact with him. The first 2 weeks fully, and now he's been calling and texting daily. He says he regrets filing, that it was done out of emotion, and wishes he could take it back. He begs me to reconcile, but I'm firm on moving forward with the divorce. For years, this marriage drained me. I became depressed, irritable, and felt like I lost myself while he chose his band over our family, stayed out all night with female friends, cursed me out, broke mirrors, even texted escorts. Okay. We tried counseling, 3 couples therapists, and our own individual therapy. Nothing changed. He insists I pushed him away, which is why he acted out. Now he says I must not love him or that I have someone else, which isn't true. Instead, I've been focusing on myself and filling up my own cup while parenting our 3-year-old, doing things that make me happy and finally feeling some peace. Am I wrong for sticking with no contact and refusing to reconcile? Or is it cruel of me to keep shutting him out when he says he regrets it? For reference, in the pictures, when he refers to me posting titty pictures, he was referring to a birthday photo shoot I had last week in which I'm wearing a pink halter dress with cleavage. Also, the disrespect he's referring to is the fact that we've talked on the phone for 30 minutes on 3 different occasions since our split. I answered after he called 20 times, so I felt bad. He says I'm disrespectful for not giving him the time of day. He says, I call it 3:30. Please, baby, please. I've been waiting to talk to you about these for weeks. This doesn't have to end. I'm in so much regret. The next day, seriously, I don't know what to do. I don't have an answer for you. This is all my effing fault. I lost my wife because of my messed up decisions. I lost my family because of me, and I'm not able to accept that right now. Read my messages, or I'm not used to being ignored. You have never cared about my perspective and feelings. It's been your show, so have your way. My fault. The next day, ignoring me again. You are a manipulating butthole. Blank, I want you to know I'm not moving forward with turning in the divorce papers. I regret making that decision out of emotion, and I still want us to work things out if you're open to it. I put everything on pause because I believe we need time and separation to see if we can rebuild together. The next day, Saturday, why you remove how you really soon? Why you remove how you really soon? Okay. And then he says, you don't effing love me. You on some BS acting like you really want this divorce. I will call you every day until you block me. I don't give a gosh darn. You don't effing care about me. I'm a complete F up and will never have you back. Be with them new ninjas. Grass ain't greener. You don't give an F about me. Effing posting titty pics and stuff. The crazy thing is she mentioned that he was unfaithful and out all night and calling escorts. And now he's saying the grass isn't greener. Well, now he's learning the grass isn't greener. At the bottom, he says, wow, you really just don't care about us anymore. This top text kind of made me laugh, especially since he is a cheater and was texting escorts. Says, out with your titties out with females that can't even keep a man to get married while you got ninjas in your face, but you can't even give me the time of day. Your husband, your baby father. I could die right now and you wouldn't care. All the BS about you loving me and having loved me, that's not true. I'm going through so much pain right now, and the only person I can be truly vulnerable is with you. I just want conversation every day. I'm not getting this divorce. This ain't cool for you to keep this up when you know you feel that C. All caps now. Stop effing fronting. You don't have to be fake or hide your real feelings from me. He got strong with it. And then he says, you know you don't want that to be the final outcome. Stop effing ignoring me. And then he says, I could be a lot calmer, but your disrespect is uncalled for, even though I regret all this and I'm sorry as F. Feel hella bad, like to the core. You effing treat me like I don't exist and effing expect me to just talk about business when you want to call me. Nah, fam, you making this situation a lot worse than I can be. So he is upset that he is getting what he asked for. He had enough time and energy to be out there, being out in them streets, being community peen. And now she's like, go do what you want to do. And he's like, no, I don't want that. Because that's the thing. You have so much more time and energy to be a cheater when you have someone doing the foundational stuff in the home. And she's like, nope, I'm good. I do want to show y'all what she looks like because she posted some pictures. So this right here is homegirl that got him wilding out via text message. Maybe if he would have poured into her, she wouldn't be out here pouring into herself and partying herself up. And yeah, it looks like she's moving on. And I hope that she stays strong with it. Now let's jump into the comments. Remote Physics says, no contact means no contact whatsoever. You need to maintain that level of no contact. He's not going to change. He's not going to get better. All he's going to do is manipulate you and wear you down. Maintain no contact. She says, this is the honest answer I needed to hear. Thank you. After he calls me countless times, I sometimes give in and answer just to hear what he has to say. To be honest, it feels good in the moment to think he somewhat cares, but deep down, I know there's no real reconciliation possible. I had hoped for a long time that he would change, but now I know for sure he won't. He has no self-motivation to change, only desire to reel me back in for control. Nicola says, but here's the thing, OP, he doesn't care. What he cares about is that his property is missing. He doesn't care about you as a person. He wants his bang maid back, and he's pissed that his property is not doing what he tells it to. If he cared about you, he wouldn't have cheated, abused, manipulated, etc. You're not a person that he loves. You're a possession. And that's why he's sending you unhinged rants accusing you of being with other people. He doesn't see you as a person with a mind and autonomy. So obviously, if you're not there, it's because another guy stole you from him. Like you're a toaster that went missing. Mute him and go forward with the divorce. And give all these texts and voicemails to your attorney and go for full custody. Try and only get him supervised visits. This guy is unhinged, and I wouldn't put it past him to kidnap your kiddo to punish you and force you to come back. I guarantee he doesn't see the kid anymore as a person than he does you. And this was a really good comment that I wanted to get to. Expensive Magician says, violence, physical aggression, lies, infidelity, and manipulation are all very valid reasons for ending a marriage to such a person. Such behavior is obviously inexcusable, and obviously they are all valid reasons for refusing contact with such an individual. Never mind not reconciling with someone like that. No offense, but I'm a little surprised that this is even a question for you. Regards. And then he says, edit. Having now read your response to me below, I'd like to offer some additional thoughts, if you don't mind, all speculative as I know nothing about you. The fact that you're even contemplating reconciliation tells me that on a certain level, unconscious level, you are oddly comfortable with his behavior towards you, and quite possibly because it's something that you grew up with as a child, observing your mother's interaction with what I am guessing was an abusive husband. Put another way, you grew up with the model of a relationship that was abusive, and for you that was normal and perhaps more importantly predictable. Your mother knew what to expect every day, and because you were witnessing what was going on, you did as well. And this is why you note below that it is messing with your head, and why to use your words in response to me below, it feels normal because for you it is. Like everyone else in the world, you're viewing reality through a prism of your repressed childhood memories and experiences. And this is something that I talk about consistently because what's normal and what's common sense for one person may not be common sense and normal for the next person. At a minimum, I would imagine that you grew up in a household where there was not a model of normal, mature, and responsible parental interaction with parents who might have given you the love, affection, and support that every small child is not only entitled to, but who needs in order to grow up and experience what is generally regarded to be a healthy, emotionally, and psychologically beneficial relationship with another human being. It says NB right here, but I don't know what the letters NB stands for in this regard. But he says, and as many others have commented, the fact that your own child is now in a position to witness the abuse that you yourself are going through means that in the event you do reconcile, you will be perpetuating the cycle that you yourself seek so desperately to get out of, but for some reason, as I discuss above, cannot. Obviously, I know nothing about you, so I am merely speculating, but I would be curious to hear from you if that was indeed the case. Thank you. So it looks like she had responded to him before the edit saying, "You're right on paper. It looks like such an obvious decision. The hard part for me is that I've been in this cycle for so long that it feels normal. Honestly, I think I've been brainwashed into second guessing myself. He keeps telling me that I'm rejecting a man who's just trying to love me, and it messes with my head." She says, edit. "The primary reason why I decided enough was because I know our child deserves so much better." And then No Game says, what type of relationship are you modeling for your child? Want them to grow up to view this as normal, or is this how you want your child to be treated by their spouse? Then she responds with, "Yes, this is the main reason why I decided enough was enough. Our child deserves so much better, most of all, safety." The argument was that ultimately led to the end started because I told my husband it was irresponsible of us as parents to keep our son in such a toxic household. He suggested moving in with his parents to save money while we separated, but when I asked for an actual move out date, he got angry and said he wasn't going anywhere. That's when I knew I had to leave. Our child is a gift, and he deserves a loving, stable home, even if that means being raised by a single parent rather than in a violent two-parent household. I love this for her. I love that there is a community that comes in and highlights these things. And I love that we are talking about these things in the public square. So keep on talking, keep on sharing, keep on making sure that you know that some people do not have the same normal as you. Some people don't have the same foundation as you. And I will keep honing in on that point so that maybe other people can take that with a grain of salt when you're offering up advice. All right, y'all, join the conversation. Keep sharing, talking. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube. We talked about this post about a week and a half ago, and I was alerted that there was a final update. So she says, "Am I the a-hole for not wanting to be my ex's caretaker?" She says, "I'm making this post to show my ex later because I don't feel like I'm in the wrong here, but I'm close to the situation and I'm always open to new opinions. My ex up and abandoned our family several years back to live his truth, not saying what his truth is. Past that, it involved a lot of random unprotected sex. That is way more important to him than our 3 children. He did not pay child support. He didn't even acknowledge the children most of the time. He worked under the table and did OF. Still really don't know what CB is to make sure that he didn't have to support the children that he helped create. Needless to say, our 2 eldest hate him and our youngest doesn't even remember him. He reached out to me recently to tell me that the karma train had run him over. He had acquired a terminal STI from his time as the community chew toy. He showed me proof of his diagnosis. Now he wants to come home, spend what time left he has with the children, and he wants me to be there when he passes on. Now is not the time for I told you so's." I think he's being ridiculous. With new medication, you can live a long time with that diagnosis. Besides, why should it fall on the children and I to sweep up another mess that he made? He thinks that the children will regret not getting to spend time with him while there's time to be had. So am I the a-hole? We've already discussed this. No, she's not the a-hole. So she says, update number 1. I talked to the 2 older children. I told them that their dad was sick and wanted to reconnect. Our eldest laughed and said she thought he deserved it. Our middle child says she doesn't want to speak to him. Our youngest was 1 when he bounced, so he's a concept to her anyway. Yeah, not bringing him back around the kids without a court order. She says, I saw a few accusations of homophobia/transphobia. Both the ex and I are members of the Rainbow Rangers. She says, both of us are bi for clarification. She says, I did send him the post, but he's already called this morning to yell about it, so someone did. He claims that there's a secondary health issue, that the HIV will make worse, so he will need help. Also, he's claiming that HIV automatically qualifies you for SSI, and he's going that route, and he won't be a financial burden. Well, he won't be anyway because I'm not letting him in. I agree with those of you who said that he's probably lying, gaslighting, exaggerating, but he is a heavy smoker, so who knows? Thanks to everyone who commented. There was a lot of helpful information. Update number 2, because a lot of you called this. I told my ex that I wasn't going to force the children to have anything to do with him. His response was, fine, I still need you though. I wish I could figure out a way to attach a screenshot because my flabbers are gasted at the open audacity. He lives a state over and currently doesn't have a car, so we should be fairly safe. Now, here's the last update. Last update, hopefully, because family members saw this and shared on Facebook. I gave him 1 phone call before I blocked him, mostly to see what he'd say. He admitted to exaggerating the situation. He has a lung issue that might become cancer in the future if he doesn't stop vaping and smoking. He is already on the meds to get his count down. He literally said that he wants to be babied, that someone as good looking as he is deserves to be babied. He also acknowledged that he can't keep a job. Apparently, he had a job at a McDonald's outside of Pittsburgh recently, and it didn't even last a month. So, in his words, he wasn't dodging child support so much as he is incapable of paying it. So also whined that all he has to offer anyone is sex, and now that's been taken from him. His parents have disowned him. His brothers won't speak to him. Oh, and he says he doesn't care about what a bunch of internet strangers think, but then whined that I shouldn't talk bad about him to internet strangers. When he told me to stop taking a tone with him, I told him that any further contact can be through the courts and blocked him. This was draining. This was cathartic. To the a-holes calling this fake, I hope you never experience an ex as bad as mine. 8 days ago, I asked her, because someone asked me to ask, can you make a separate post with those screenshots, some additional research and things? And she did that. Here's the post, and I guess baby daddy's name is Redhead, saying, honestly, we should just go our separate ways. You wanted to have fun and have no responsibilities. Look what it got you. And I simply don't trust you. $30 in 3 years, and you're acting like you sent me the world. I simply can't deal with it. And to that, he says, fine. If that's what will make you happy, I love you. Goodbye. She says, I can't say what will make me happy at this point without being culpable. I wonder what that means. You have done so much damage that you just can't undo. I'm not going to force the kids to be side characters in this mummer's farce. And then he says, fine, I still need you though. And that was all she offered as far as screenshots. And then finally, I can tell Burbies when I see it. Mid-Scores Can Fly says, he is a pest looking to nest and rest. You have built a stable life for yourself, and he wants to come leech off of you and suck you dry. Glad you aren't entertaining this foolishness. I love it. Keep saying these words. Keep spreading this message. Even Star Ice says, he just wants to use you as a nurse. He doesn't care about you nor your kids. I'm so sorry you had to deal with him. You and your kids are better off without him. And then Epic Sierra says, yes, the proverbial nurse with a purse. We're going to continue to say these words and spread it into the lexicon so people can spot it and see the red flags as they come along. All right, y'all, keep the conversations going. Keep saying these things in the public square. All of that, keep talking to your daughters, keep talking to your kids, and keep raising the boys to be some productive adults so that they don't come out here being community peen, needing a caretaker as they get old. Like, comment, and share. I just want to give a few tips for the content creators here on TikTok that are thinking about going over to YouTube, and even for people over on YouTube that are thinking about doing content creation themselves. When you are over on YouTube, the 3 T's are important: topic, title, and thumbnail. You do have to create a title that is searchable, that will hit the algorithm. You need to find topics that are kind of trending, even when you put your spin on things. You can't just jump in and think that you're going to just talk about your life and blah blah blah, because people may or may not find you because they don't know who you are at this particular time. So topic, thumbnail, and title, those are the 3 T's. The 3 apps that I use on a day-to-day basis: Canva to create my thumbnails. I pay for Canva. I pay for the professional one, so I have access to all of these templates. I use CapCut to stitch my videos together, because the longer you make your videos, the more watch time, the more ads that are possible when you are monetized. And I use vidIQ because it helps you find topics, it helps you find the appropriate hashtags and all of that. So once again, the 3 apps that I use on a day-to-day basis: Canva, CapCut, and vidIQ. So that's just a few of my tips, and I'm just giving you those tips. I use these day to day. And one of the things that I did not do when I first started taking my videos from TikTok to YouTube was put a thumbnail. So work on that. And if you don't know how to make your own thumbnails, get someone to do it for you. Another app that I sometimes use to send work out is Fiverr. 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 And you can find someone to make your thumbnails for like $5 or $10. So those are just my few tips for the people that are looking to get into content creation and you don't really know where to start.